Imagine a love so intoxicating, so forbidden, that every stolen glance and whispered promise feels like a rebellion against the world itself. A love that thrives in shadows, hidden from judgment, yet devours everything in its path. What happens when the very person who makes your heart soar in secret becomes the source of your deepest public humiliation? This is not just a tale of passion. It is a tragic journey through desire, betrayal, and the cruel twists of fate. Every heartbeat, every touch, conceals a dangerous secret, and behind the smiles and laughter lies a tempest waiting to erupt. The story of He Gave Her Heaven in Secret and Hell in Public will leave you questioning the very nature of love, loyalty, and the cost of temptation. Disclaimer: this is a dramatic content for awareness and discussion only. In 2017, in the heart of Chicago, a city of lights, ambition, and endless possibilities, lived Isabelle Hart, a woman admired for her charm, intelligence, and elegance. To everyone around her, she was the epitome of success. A respected architect, a woman with a thriving career, and an image of sophistication that turned heads wherever she went. But behind the polished exterior, Isabelle carried a secret that no one could imagine. A forbidden love affair with someone who promised her the world in secrecy and shattered it in public. What began as a passionate connection under the veil of discretion slowly became a web of deception, shame, and heartbreak, threatening everything she had worked for. Isabelle first met Jonathan Hale at a charity gala in downtown Chicago in 2017. The room was alive with laughter, clinking glasses, and the subtle hum of live jazz. Jonathan, a high-profile corporate strategist, exuded confidence and charm, with a smile that could disarm even the most guarded hearts. Isabelle noticed him immediately, not just because of his striking presence, but because of a peculiar intensity in his gaze, as if he could see beyond the surface into the hidden corners of her soul. Their first conversation was fleeting, yet unforgettable, filled with subtle flirtation, knowing glances, and the kind of chemistry that ignites without warning. That night, Isabelle returned home, heart racing, a mix of thrill and apprehension. She knew she was stepping into a territory where desire and danger would collide. Weeks passed, and their encounters became more frequent. Coincidental meetings in coffee shops, library aisles, and rooftop views of the city skyline. Each moment shared was laced with tension and forbidden excitement. Isabelle's world, once orderly and predictable, began to blur as Jonathan's presence became a constant, intoxicating distraction. But what she didn't realize was that Jonathan had a reputation, a duality that no one talked about. In public, he was charming but dismissive, often cold and harsh. Yet in private, he became a master of seduction, a man who promised Isabelle an entire universe of secret pleasures. It was a dark romance, a secret passion, a taboo love story that thrived away from prying eyes. Their affair was electric, consuming, and heart-stopping. Every text, every stolen moment felt like a rebellion against a world that could never understand their connection. Isabelle, who had always believed in morality and decorum, began questioning the lines she had once drawn so firmly. How could something so right feel so forbidden? The nights she spent with Jonathan were a mixture of euphoria and guilt, heaven in secrecy, yet a looming fear of exposure and ruin in public. She wondered if love could truly survive when it demanded both concealment and courage, when it thrived only in the shadows while threatening to destroy her in the light of day. The first major incident occurred at a corporate dinner in March 2018. Jonathan, under the scrutiny of colleagues and business partners, publicly dismissed her ideas during a presentation, a calculated humiliation that left Isabelle reeling. Yet after the room emptied and the whispers faded, Jonathan was there, gentle, tender, apologetic in his own cryptic way, turning the public shame into a private heaven with whispered reassurances and stolen kisses in the quiet of a conference room. This duality, the public cruelty and private indulgence, became the rhythm of their affair. Isabelle found herself addicted to both the thrill and the torment. She began noticing the subtle patterns, the way Jonathan would delight in her discomfort in public, testing her boundaries, asserting control, then in secret, offering intense affection and intimacy. It was intoxicating and terrifying at once. Her friends began noticing her distracted behavior, her emotional highs and lows, and whispered behind closed doors about the man who had captured her heart so completely. Was it love or merely obsession, cloaked in the guise of passion? Isabelle herself struggled to decipher her emotions. Every choice seemed to carry consequences beyond her control, each embrace a mix of pleasure and peril. As months passed, the affair deepened, entangling her emotionally, socially, and professionally. Secrets piled upon secrets, lies upon lies, yet Isabelle could not escape the gravitational pull of Jonathan's allure. She became trapped in a labyrinth of desire and deception, each encounter leaving her more enmeshed in the dangerous game he played so effortlessly. Was it possible to find genuine love in a relationship so riddled with betrayal, or was she destined to endure the heartbreak and humiliation that seemed inseparable from the ecstasy Jonathan provided? Every heartbeat, every stolen glance, every whispered word felt like both a lifeline and a shackle. And just when she began questioning if she could survive the duality of Jonathan's affection, a shocking revelation loomed. A secret from his past that threatened not only her heart, but her entire life in the public eye. Could Isabelle confront the reality of her situation? Or would she be consumed entirely by the intoxicating blend of heaven and hell Jonathan had created? The answers were coming, but at what cost to her pride, her reputation, and her heart? If this story has touched you so far, kindly comment, "I feel her pain." Share this story with all those who need to hear or watch it. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVC and follow for more real-life, inspiring, emotional, chilling, and shocking stories on forbidden love and tragic affairs. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell to catch the next part, where the secrets deepen and the line between desire and destruction grows ever thinner. The tension in Isabelle's life escalated as spring 2018 unfolded, and with every passing day, the lines between love and torment blurred even further. Jonathan's private attentions grew more intense, yet his public demeanor remained cold and calculated. She began to notice the subtle cruelty in his interactions with others, a sharp word here, a dismissive glance there, always leaving her to absorb the discomfort silently, while the world remained oblivious to the intimacy they shared behind closed doors. Isabelle questioned herself constantly. Was this love, or was she merely a pawn in a game she didn't fully understand? The thrill of secrecy coexisted with a gnawing fear, and every stolen moment in Jonathan's arms became both a sanctuary and a trap. It was during one late-night drive through Chicago that Isabelle confronted the depth of her entanglement. The city lights blurred past the car windows as she trembled in quiet desperation. "Jonathan," she whispered, voice quivering, "why must it always be like this? Why can't you just be the man you are for me in front of the world?" He remained silent for a long moment, gripping the steering wheel with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. Finally, he replied, voice low and commanding, "Because, Isabelle, the world can't understand what we have. They would destroy it if they could. What we share, it is ours alone. And yet, I enjoy the chaos just as much as the secrecy." That night, the words settled in her mind, both thrilling and terrifying. She realized that Jonathan's duality was deliberate, not accidental. He relished the power of controlling both her private ecstasy and her public humiliation. The intoxicating combination of pleasure and pain, heaven and hell, was his design, and she was caught in the spiral. Isabelle struggled to reconcile the man she adored in private with the one who tormented her in public. How could one person embody both extremes so completely? Every encounter became a lesson in paradox. a cruel balancing act that tested her emotional endurance and sense of self. By May, whispers had begun circulating within her social and professional circles. Friends noticed her distracted demeanor, her sudden mood swings, and the subtle injuries of emotional strain etched into her expressions. Yet Isabelle found herself trapped between loyalty to her heart and the practical demands of her public life. She sought counsel in private journals, pouring out her fears and desires, desperate to untangle the snarl of obsession, love, and betrayal. Her diary became a confessional, a place where she allowed herself to confront truths she dared not voice aloud. What was happening to her was no longer just a secret passion. It was a life-altering, soul-consuming storm. One evening, a confrontation at a high-profile industry gala laid bare the danger she was entangled in. Jonathan, calculating and magnetic, publicly embarrassed her during a panel discussion, dismissing her ideas with a sharpness that drew gasps from the audience. The humiliation cut deep, leaving her trembling in the quiet moments afterward. Yet, behind the curtain of private negotiations later that evening, Jonathan transformed entirely. Tender kisses, whispered apologies, and a private world of affection were laid bare in the hotel suite overlooking the city skyline. It was a reminder that the very man who shattered her in public was capable of offering paradise in secret, a cruel contrast that kept her tethered to him despite the pain. Isabelle began noticing patterns that unnerved her. Jonathan's public actions were almost ritualistic, a deliberate theater of control, while in private he offered intense devotion. Each act of public humiliation was followed by moments of overwhelming intimacy, creating a cycle she could not break. It was as if he had mastered the art of emotional manipulation under the guise of love. The tension of anticipation, the risk of exposure, and the thrill of forbidden desire became the very oxygen of their relationship. Every stolen moment, every glance in secrecy, carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken truths. Could she survive the constant oscillation between ecstasy and despair? Or was she doomed to exist only in the shadows of Jonathan's carefully orchestrated duality? In early June, a shocking twist threatened to unravel everything. A rumor surfaced, whispered in hushed tones at one of her firm's largest client events, that Jonathan had been seen with another woman in a seemingly intimate situation. Her heart, already fragile from months of psychological and emotional strain, faltered. Panic mixed with longing, jealousy and desire collided in her mind. Could the man who gave her heaven in secret truly be trusted? Or was she merely a chapter in a story that had room for many others? Yet when she confronted him later that night, Jonathan's charm and intensity enveloped her once more, drawing her back into the vortex of passion she could neither resist nor fully trust. The stakes escalated when Isabelle began to question her own moral compass. She wondered if the love she felt, so fierce, so consuming, was worth the public shame and private torment. Could it be possible to find a balance, to hold on to her heart while protecting her dignity? Or was she already ensnared in a web with no escape? Every encounter with Jonathan became a lesson in temptation and endurance, a relentless test of her capacity to navigate the extremes of desire and despair. The allure of their clandestine paradise clashed violently with the cruelty of public exposure, leaving Isabelle constantly teetering on the edge of emotional collapse. And then came the evening that would redefine everything. An unexpected revelation from a close confidant that threatened to expose Jonathan's manipulations to the world, and with them, Isabelle's deepest secrets. The choice she faced was staggering. Protect the forbidden love that had brought her both ecstasy and pain, or confront the harsh reality of betrayal and risk losing everything in the public eye. Would she continue to endure the duality of heaven and hell, or finally summon the courage to break free? The answer lingered like a whisper in the wind, a question that demanded reckoning and action. If this story has gripped your heart so far, comment, "I feel her struggle." Share this with those who need to witness the complexities of forbidden love. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVC And follow for more real-life, emotional, chilling, and heart-wrenching stories that explore the line between passion and torment. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell to see the next part, where the stakes rise, the secrets deepen, and Isabelle faces the ultimate test of love, trust, and survival. Summer 2018 brought no relief, only a further tightening of the emotional chains that bound Isabelle to Jonathan. Each day felt like walking a tightrope stretched over a canyon of desire and dread. He had an uncanny ability to read her mind, anticipating her thoughts and emotions with precision that both thrilled and terrified her. Jonathan's dual existence, the lover in private and the tyrant in public, was no longer a source of mystery but a methodical control that left Isabelle questioning her own judgment. The city seemed to conspire against her. Every glance, every whisper a reminder of how fragile her position was. She could almost hear the pulse of the streets, the unspoken warnings etched in the hurried footsteps of passers-by, all mirroring the chaos inside her heart. It was during a late July evening, at an exclusive rooftop event, that Isabelle realized the depth of her entanglement. Jonathan approached her, charming and composed in front of their peers, but when their eyes met in private, the intensity was palpable. He whispered her name with a possessive heat that made her knees weak. In those stolen seconds, the world disappeared. Her colleagues, the skyline, even the warm summer air vanished. All that existed was Jonathan's gaze, commanding and consuming, a silent assertion of dominion over her heart. The thrill of forbidden love coursed through her, mingling with an almost unbearable fear of exposure. Could she endure this roller coaster of ecstasy and humiliation, or was she already too deeply ensnared to resist? The days that followed were a delicate dance of avoidance and longing. Jonathan maintained his calculated detachment in public, while Isabelle struggled to hold herself together amidst the scrutiny of colleagues and acquaintances who began noticing subtle shifts in her behavior. She caught herself analyzing every interaction, every glance, every word, trying to decipher hidden meanings and intentions. It became exhausting, her mind a labyrinth of desire, suspicion, and shame. At night, she would replay every stolen moment with Jonathan, searching for clues, justifications, or warnings. The intensity of their private encounters seemed to validate the torment she endured publicly, yet she feared that the balance could shatter at any moment, leaving her exposed and broken. One evening, Jonathan orchestrated a private retreat, ostensibly to rekindle their bond. Isabelle, torn between hope and apprehension, agreed, sensing an opportunity to regain a semblance of control. As they drove through the quiet outskirts of the city, he revealed fragments of his own vulnerability, the rare admissions that hinted at a man who was as complex and damaged as she had become. Her heart softened in those moments, the vulnerability behind his carefully crafted exterior offering a fleeting illusion of safety. But the moment was fleeting. By the time they returned to the city, Jonathan's mask of indifference was firmly in place, reminding her that paradise existed only in the shadows, while public hell awaited at every turn. August arrived, and with it came a revelation that would forever alter the trajectory of Isabelle's life. A message, accidentally sent to the wrong recipient, exposed a sliver of Jonathan's duplicity. Evidence of other entanglements, minor but undeniable, seeped into her world like a poison. Her stomach churned with betrayal. Yet when confronted, Jonathan's charisma and intensity enveloped her once again, disarming her skepticism and reigniting the flame of forbidden passion. The paradox was maddening. Every betrayal he committed seemed to strengthen the magnetic pull of their secret connection. Isabelle realized she was trapped not by circumstance, but by the intoxicating combination of desire, manipulation, and the intoxicating thrill of the forbidden. The public-private duality became a relentless torment. Isabelle's friends and colleagues began speculating on the nature of her relationship, whispers trailing her like shadows. She became adept at hiding bruises, both emotional and subtle physical, as if performing a dance of deception for an audience she could never fully trust. The burden of secrecy weighed heavily on her, and she began to understand the full magnitude of the phrase, "He gave her heaven in secret and hell in public." Each moment of private ecstasy was counterbalanced by a public display of humiliation or neglect, a cruel balancing act that tested every fiber of her emotional being. She questioned whether love could exist in such extremes, or whether she was merely a victim of an elaborate game, carefully orchestrated to feed Jonathan's need for control. By late September, a critical turning point emerged. Isabelle discovered evidence that Jonathan's manipulations were broader than she had imagined, entangling multiple people in a web of secrecy and deceit. Her sense of reality trembled as she confronted the truth. The paradise she sought existed only at a cost measured in humiliation, heartbreak, and compromised morality. The realization hit with a force that left her breathless, and yet, the pull of Jonathan's private devotion was undeniable. Could she abandon a love so intense, so intoxicating, even knowing the damage it wrought? Or was she destined to navigate this labyrinth of forbidden desire and emotional torment until she lost herself completely? As October approached, Isabelle stood at a crossroads of temptation and morality, desire and despair. The thrill of their secret encounters beckoned, even as the public torment intensified. The line between love and obsession blurred further, leaving her questioning not only Jonathan's intentions, but her own capacity for endurance. Could love truly survive such extremes? Or was it destined to destroy everything in its path? The answer remained elusive, a shadowed question that haunted every heartbeat, every stolen kiss, every whispered confession in the dark. If this story has gripped your heart so far, comment, "I feel her torment." Share this with those who need to witness the consuming power of forbidden love. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVC and follow for more real-life, emotional, chilling, and heart-wrenching stories of passion and betrayal. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell for the next part, where the secrets deepen, the stakes reach a breaking point, and Isabelle faces the ultimate confrontation that could change everything. October 2018 dawned with a chill that seemed to mirror the tension in Isabelle's chest. The private ecstasy she had clung to for months was now suffused with a creeping dread, each encounter with Jonathan tinged with the knowledge that the fragile illusion could shatter at any moment. Their secret meetings became more daring, more electric, yet simultaneously more dangerous. Isabelle sensed the walls closing in, as though the world itself was conspiring to expose their hidden passion. Every stolen moment in dimly lit corridors or behind closed doors carried a heightened sense of risk, and with risk came the intoxicating thrill that neither could resist. The contrast between Jonathan's tender devotion in private and his cold, indifferent demeanor in public became an almost unbearable paradox, one that gnawed at Isabelle's heart and mind alike. On a rainy October evening, the tension reached a breaking point. Isabelle waited at their usual clandestine spot, the rooftop of an abandoned office building, the city lights blurred through sheets of rain. Jonathan arrived, drenched yet composed, his eyes burning with a mixture of passion and regret. The storm around them mirrored the storm within her, a maelstrom of desire, fear, and doubt. As they embraced, the world fell away, leaving only the raw, unfiltered connection between them. But in the midst of the intimate surrender, Isabelle felt a sudden pang of clarity. This love, intoxicating as it was, had become a chain, binding her to a man who could give heaven in secret and hell in public. Could she reconcile the man she adored in private with the tyrant she endured in public? Or was the cost of passion simply too high to bear? The days that followed were a delicate tightrope between submission and resistance. Isabelle found herself questioning every word, every touch, every lingering glance. She could no longer deny the pattern. Jonathan's affection was never fully his own. It existed to manipulate, to dominate, to feed an insatiable need for control. And yet, even as her intellect screamed for distance, Her heart betrayed her, pulled relentlessly back into his orbit. Friends noticed the subtle shifts. Her distracted gaze, the occasional trembling in her hands, the way she flinched at certain tones. Isabelle's private paradise had transformed into a solitary prison where the walls were built of stolen kisses, whispered confessions, and the cruel twists of forbidden desire. Then, in mid-November, the inevitable confrontation arrived. Isabelle discovered indisputable evidence of Jonathan's duplicity, communications, hidden meetings, promises made and broken. The revelation was devastating, an emotional avalanche that threatened to engulf her entirely. Confronting him, she demanded truth, clarity, and honesty, her voice shaking with both fury and pain. Jonathan's response was characteristically intense, oscillating between charm, regret, and possessive passion. He confessed fragments of his reasoning, admitting to desires he could not suppress, a need to control that overshadowed even the love he claimed to feel for her. Isabelle listened, heart torn, as the reality crystallized. Their love, so powerful and intoxicating in private, was irreconcilably poisoned by deceit and manipulation in public. Could such love survive without destruction? Or was the damage already permanent? The following weeks were a harrowing ordeal of decisions. Isabelle weighed the intoxicating allure of Jonathan's private devotion against the relentless public torment, the whispers, the isolation, the emotional erosion. Every fiber of her being longed for the moments when she could surrender to his touch, hear his whispered reassurances, and believe in the fantasy of love untainted by exposure. Yet every glimpse of reality, friends' concerned expressions, colleagues' subtle glances, the cold indifference Jonathan displayed when others were present, reminded her that surrender came at an unbearable cost. The paradox was unbearable. The more she desired him, the more the relationship threatened to destroy her. By December, Isabelle had reached the precipice of choice. She realized that to truly survive, she must reclaim herself, her dignity, and her autonomy. But stepping away from Jonathan meant confronting the loss of the intoxicating highs, the private moments of pure connection that had made her world feel alive. She wrestled with grief, anger, and longing, understanding that some loves, no matter how passionate, were fundamentally destructive when the shadows of secrecy and public torment defined their existence. In the final confrontation, she left Jonathan with a mixture of compassion and resolute strength, acknowledging the love they shared while refusing to let it define her entirely. The heartbreak was profound, but so too was the liberation. The knowledge that survival sometimes meant choosing herself over the dangerous allure of forbidden passion. The story closes with a question that lingers in the hearts of those who have followed Isabelle's journey. Can a love so intense, so intoxicating, and yet so destructive ever truly heal? Or does it remain an indelible mark of longing, regret, and desire? Reflecting on her journey, Isabelle understood the moral lesson with painful clarity. Love without trust, respect, and consistency is not love. It is a mirror of obsession, and surrendering to it can consume the soul. To our viewers, have you ever felt torn between desire and conscience, knowing the heart wants what the mind warns against? Share your thoughts in the comments, reflect on your experiences, and consider what boundaries you might set to protect your heart. If this story has moved you, kindly comment, "I choose me." Share this story with those who need to see the depths of forbidden love. Like, follow, and subscribe for more gripping, emotional, and shocking real-life stories on Taboo romance stories. And turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next heart-wrenching tale. This is Taboo Romance Stories TVC, forbidden romance stories told like never before. Stay with us for more gripping tales of passion, desire, and heartbreak that defy the rules of love and life.